About 4 months ago, maybe longer, I was approached by a podcaster uh, named Alex Ferrari, California, about doing talk about movies and spirituality for a podcast he calls Next Level Soul. I had never heard of it. I have to say, very little in me says no to things. I don't see a value. I find yes is a really incredible response to what life brings you, even if you don't understand it. And I don't mean this across the board, but in most cases for me in my life, saying yes has been a door opener. It has been worth it. You can always say no later, but I have to say, saying yes up front is full of possibility. And to the degree that Rudy insisted that this life is your spiritual life, not just life and then spiritual life, there's an integration of all these things. And when you start saying no to things, you're really saying no to your spirit as well as to your substance, to yourself, to your physical material self. So the idea of just saying yes is for me a very powerful tool, as opposed to Nancy Reagan's idea of just saying no, which I would probably say is not my cup of tea. But I said yes. And I did a hour and something interview with Alex, and he was beyond charming, clear-headed, smart, knew how to direct the conversation, and essentially asked me to talk about my life, my spiritual life to some degree, mostly about my career and how it was influenced by the spiritual journey. And I was happy to make that talk. And about a month or so after I did it, I got an email from him that it was posted, and I went online. And interestingly enough, he named it very strangely, like took LSD and saw God. And I thought, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into? Is this the way I want to be represented in the world? I don't know. But very quickly, it got like 12,000 followers. And I went, wow, there's a lot of people listening to this talk. And then I looked at all these other talks that he sponsors on his page, and mostly they have 300,000, 400,000. I mean, it's like people wanting to know about whatever they seem to want to know about in the spiritual universe. And I felt from being, very suddenly exposed in a good way to not too important in the scheme of things, rather small. And I kind of got a little embarrassed about my involvement in numbers. But as soon as I did appear on his show, uh, my own numbers in terms of our class talks started to go up as well. And I had more followers than I had before. And the voice was getting out there. And I've always had a strange egoistic problem with my voice in the world, in that there has always been, from a childhood point of view, a craving for, I guess, recognition, people seeing me, knowing me, or whatever. And when the Hollywood trip started to happen, my movies were very successful, some of them, and had hundreds and hundreds of millions of viewers. And out of all of those people watching the movies, I got no feedback. And I think I've talked about this before. It was really strange. I would never meet people who saw like ghosts. And I remember being in a cab when the movie was playing at all these theaters in New York, and this cab driver said, what do you do? I said, I write movies. And he said, what have you written? I said, I wrote a movie called Ghost, because it was now playing everywhere. And he said, oh, I think I've heard of that. And a woman in line at a restaurant, and I probably have told you this story before, standing behind me that same week, says to her friend, did you see that awful movie, Ghost? Oh, God, it's horrible. That was my feedback from ghosts. So, maybe I can't count the millions of people who probably saw it in terms of the box office numbers, but the universe was clearly not going to give me strokes for that. It was not about that. And so I tried to become less and less concerned about feedback from people and making that and building the ego, which something is Rudy talked about it quite readily, is something to be broken down rather than built up, primarily because, just practically speaking, you don't leave the world with it. Your ego does not travel into the ether, if you will, into the greater beyond. It serves a purpose. It has value in this manifested form, but at some point it's deconstructed. And as I am experiencing as an old man here, I'm watching it be deconstructed in so many ways, not just feedback from the world, but feedback from my own body, which is saying to me, oh, we're done. You can't repair this carburetor. I'm getting that kind of feedback. So ego, mind, personal story, history, all of that is going to kind of fade away. But interestingly, this guy, Alex, or his people, repositioned the talk that I gave with a new title about the movie Ghost. And someone who saw ghosts and something, I forget what the title was, but all of a sudden, all of these people started watching it, and the numbers started to go up and up and up. And I started going, oh. So clearly my ego need is not diminished. And then it hit this morning, 50,000 people. Now, in terms of his 400,000, 500,000 numbers for other people, it's still small potatoes. But the other night, I was unable to sleep for all of the reasons of a decaying body that I've talked about before, and challenging on every level, spiritually and physically. And so I decided to go online, and I looked at this website to see what the numbers were. So now you know more about my ego mind. And they were in the 40 something thousand. But there was a whole list of comments. And I said, well, let me look at some comments. And I started reading them, and I started to get the feedback that I haven't been given in my entire life. And it was just people talking about how they had seen Ghost and Jacob's Ladder and My Life and Last Mimsy and all these other films, and how much it had affected their lives. A kind of feedback that I am not usually privy to. And I thought, okay, Alex, thank you. Thank you for doing this video, because one, it's a really good video, and you can all go online and look at it. It's sort of a 1 hour encapsulation of my life story, and a little bit like a synopsis of the book I've been writing and am writing and almost done writing. And I realized I'm being given these tiny little strokes of thank you from the universe, from people I will never meet, have never met, and how touching it is to be thanked. And yes, I've never had this really in a massive way before, truly. But the way I get most of my thanks is from each of you. There are levels of expression of kindness and goodness and showing up that are enough. They validate the very thing that is at the center and core of my own life, which is opening to something that Rudy gave me access to, that Rudy shepherded me into, which is the cosmological universe of joy and beauty and truth and total unknowing. And that somehow is a channel that works to this moment and allows itself to go into the class. The practice that Rudy gave me does not reward at all in terms of recognition, and it doesn't give me, hundreds of thousands or millions or billions of followers. what it gives me is you. And any human being who opens up and is available to this flow of energy is a conduit to something that will be transformative in the world itself. We are all this extraordinary presence that serves and does not have to serve billions of people. It needs to serve the people in our life. And as I said earlier, Rudy said, your spiritual life is this life. Serving this life, serving the people in this life, serving the 10, 20, 100, whatever it is that you've got. That's your journey. That is your journey. And if you serve that well, if you open, if you have a energetic, spiritual, or just a pure, open-hearted, loving connection with other people, you are doing unbelievable service in this world. And I feel that I'm watching this happen. And yes, thank you, Alex, for allowing me to see numbers involved, because in a way it touches me. But on another level, it was the comments of those who actually experienced things that I had put into the world that helped them, that made me feel good. And, you know, I get this exact same experience, truly. I use the supermarket a lot as a reference point, but I go to the supermarket and I always talk to the checkout counter people, always. And if possible, to the people in line and the people in the parking lot. There's just a kind of ongoing ability to communicate and offer kindness and love to other people. And it is reciprocated. I can feel it. I feel it flowing in both directions. And I know that I am living a life of, you can call it, if you want, spiritual purpose. Putting into the world the goodness and kindness from which all this springs. Your call, you don't have to do it, you know, but I think there's something to be said for proactivity in life, putting it out, making those calls, reaching out, doing the kind act, whatever it may be. This is the whole purpose now of our spiritual life. The sitting that we do, the meditative sitting, the movement into the chakra system, the opening of these centers in ourselves so that we are not a constricted flow, but an open flow for others, is a gift to us and a gift to everybody we know and come in contact with. If you have an open mind, an open egocentric self that communicates with others, an open heart, an open gut, a sexual space that's open and allows for recreation of you every time you're broken down and shattered on some level, you can recreate yourself as well as new life in the world. And if you've touched the base of your spine and allow this energy to go up and down and circulate through you, the Kundalini energy, and allow this energy to bring together all of these centers, you will become this whole person who functions in the world as a conduit for something remarkable. Will you get 50,000 views, 100,000 views, 1,000,000 views? I have no idea. I think on some level, you may discover it as you leave this world that there were billions of infinite, endless psyches that have been watching and observing you, cheering you on and drawing from you. I don't know. That's a good Hollywood movie. But I do know we are all part of an enormous process, and something in us is unfolding in a very, very big and extraordinary way as we do this practice. Those of you who show up and have been showing up for 20, 30, 40 and more years, I salute every one of you. I am grateful I'm here because you're here, and I know what you are able to do in terms of the world. And if you're looking for the numbers, you know, I can only tell you it serves a minimal purpose. You know, it just does. You know, just try to understand the few people or the multiples of people who love you, care about you, and are grateful that you're there. That's really crucial. Try to find somebody who cares that you're there. And if in truth nobody cares you're there, care about somebody else being there. Put it out. Do the work. That's the work. Ken Shaw, friend of mine from the Bloomington years, called me the other day and started talking about, did I realize that Rudy was really God? And maybe not exactly in those terms. And I said, well, I don't personalize it that way. But he made a really good case for Rudy being God's presence on earth. He used a lot of Sanskrit words to describe it, and I have to say, I never ever experienced another human being in my life who did more to turn my head and life around than Rudy did, ever. And he was talking, Ken, about how Rudy would transform our energies and take them in. And I try to do a version of that when I work with you, but I'm not a Rudy. I don't operate at that magnitude at all. But I really did meet somebody who had a capacity to turn lives around, to move them into higher purpose, to open them up to a really major path of growth and evolvement. And that was Rudy's work. And he called it the work. And he would take my inner guts, he would grind them up, he'd take all the awful spittle and awful stuff and throw it out and replace it with something cleaner. And to this day, my life is a reflection of the cleanliness and the clarity and the openness that he made possible. And so here I am trying to be a version of that, but I'm a smaller version of it. I'm not the dynamic that Rudy had, but I am a conduit for what I would call my grandmother's love, if you want to use that term, because it came from her, it came from my mom. It's Mother's Day. It's, obviously a day to remember and recall the feminine, the female, the mothering energy that goes into the world. My energy is very mothering. It's very loving, and it's a potent love. I feel it when I teach. The energy that comes through is this love, and it's very, in a way, you can call it feminine. It's really non-binary in a way. It just loves. And every one of you, I have to tell you, are deeply loved. This energy does not discriminate. It goes to who you are. It's grateful that you came into the world. It's grateful that you formed in this solid way, and it just loves you. And I feel the love in every single one of you and the connection to each of you. And I don't walk away from you until you have been embraced and hugged by something that I will call infinite. And if it wasn't for Rudy, I would never have found a path to that. And that path has continued to evolve and grow. If Rudy is God, well, then I met God. If Rudy is the pathway to God, then I have met the pathway to God. But what Rudy represents to me is the work that gets you there, and the there that it gets you to, interestingly, is here. This is it. The work of Rudy, the work of the universe, is right in front of us at this moment. You're either doing it or you're not doing it. You're either showing up or you're not showing up. And as I've been expressing in recent weeks and months, it's so moment to moment. It's not like anything I've ever known before. It's not a casual moment here and a casual moment there. And, oh yeah, I can be nice, I can do this. It is ongoing, constant. Every moment is a moment of acknowledging, recognizing, witnessing, touching, affirming, offering, responding to, presenting the universe with love. Truly. And I'm not being casual about that. It's an active involvement. And if you want me to get Hollywood dramatic about it, may or may not, this is the most change-oriented moment that I think all of us have encountered. I am deeply aware that things are changing suddenly in the world in a massive way. And I don't know how to describe it. If those of you who heard my talk last week, the talk on artificial intelligence. I mean, I can talk about all sorts of different things because, the world in every way is changing dramatically. And we are all going to be called into account. And so if the material life is your spiritual life, there's work to be done. And there is, in the movie terms, urgency. Urgency is something that drives a movie and it drives a life. Many of us have had relatively passive existence. There's urgency of getting to the job on time and selling this and getting that done and picking up the groceries. And yeah, that's urgency. But urgency in terms of keeping the world whole and healthy and benefiting its people is really work. It's really work, and it's not passive work. It's not something you can toss off to other people. It's not something you can just go, yeah, right, well, I know, yeah, well, it's not like that anymore. This is the time, I mean this is the time to bring yourself forward. I don't know that you're going to get 100 million viewers, but you will get enough that you may touch one person in that supermarket line. You may touch one person in your family. You may touch one person in an email you send to somebody that will alter the equation. That's worthy. That's a spiritual life. A spiritual life isn't just sitting in a cave and going, oh, yes, and disappearing and finding yourself in some kind of perfect place. You know, this is a perfect place. Find yourself in this perfect place. You don't have to be in a cave. This is it. This is it. And as I've said before, this is all there is. There's nothing else but this. And this is it. Lines I take from a movie, but I love those lines. The potency of this is so great. And so if you can reach out and touch others and be part of this equation and do it with urgency, not just with an occasional memory of, oh, yeah, I can, but start to understand that the changes that are now occurring in this world are going to need you more than ever. And as a filmmaker, storyteller, it feels like the big push in the third act. I don't know what's coming. I don't have a clue. Last night in the middle of a neuropathic attack, 3 a.m., I looked at my phone and there was a woman talking about May 19th. I don't know. She was an astrologer and I have no idea. And she was throwing out so many things about Jupiter and everything and Saturn. And I didn't put it all together, but she was talking about the big change and drama and, the financial. I mean, it was really enough to probably give you nightmares all night, but I used it just to get myself quieted down. And I turned it off and I sat there and tried to deal with my pain. And then I just lay down and luckily was exhausted enough to go back to sleep. But I woke up remembering her and going, yes, there may be astrological stuff going on. There may be, who knows, all you have to do is look at the news and wow, big stuff here, big stuff. And I just know personally, I have to pull from a level of strength and stillness and capacity to live in a world that is very affected by drama, my own bodily drama, the world drama, political drama, Blanche's drama, my children, everybody. It's all going on. What's my purpose in this? Well, it's to just iterate what I'm saying right now. And I know I say it 500 times too many, but show up, be kind, be good, be available, be vibrantly aware that you are the change that is needed in a world that is doing nothing but change. You are what's needed. You can help direct where that goes. And you do it by doing this work and realizing that you and your spiritual life and the material life are the one same thing. And it's all the work. The work is all day, all night. And one day, when you get to be blessedly old, you will find that there is no moment, like literally no moment, where the work isn't called upon. And you will be so grateful that you built a system and a muscle and a capacity and an awareness of what this is, because you don't want to stumble into old age. You don't want to stumble into the end of your life. You don't want to leave this life tripping on yourself. You want to leave with some clarity and some openness and some sense of being of kindness and service to the world you have inhabited. And maybe at the end of your life, you'll read a few little notes of things that will say, people loved you for it. People say thank you. You may not get a lot, but I will tell you, I'll write one of those notes. I love you guys. I love you guys. And you are important to me. You are truly important to me, even as I see your photos here, and some of you are off screen and I don't see you, but I love you guys. You are worthy of that love. Take that love and share it as widely as you possibly and humanly can, because the world needs you now. It's urgent. Done. Happy Mother's Day. Questions? I don't see all the screens. You may have to unmute yourself. Okay.
Um, regarding the urgency, I'm would just like a little bit of insight into how to work with that because I feel like whenever, I'm sorry, regarding the urgency, I would love if you could elaborate a little bit on how to work with that because I feel like a lot of times I go into the urgency or the rush and it kind of like there's a sort of clinch which I think clogs the flow a bit and I end up just slowing down. So, and that's something I really have a challenge with. So maybe you could elaborate on how to work with the urgency.
I have no clue. I am exactly where you are. I clench. I go, oh my God. I look, it's so big. It's so big. The world transformational stuff that's happening is so big and threatening on levels we don't understand politically, environmentally, the war zones of the world. I mean, everything that's going on, the AI, the people not going to work anymore in the cities. I mean, you can just one list after another of stuff that's happening. Where do you begin? What's happening at the border? I mean, I turn on the news with Blanchett, like she seems to find it interesting, and I go, I can't watch this. I can't do it because it just clogs me up. But the reaction I have to all of this is one: there's no one person that can fix this. Maybe a elected official, maybe. I don't even know about that. But what can I do? And I go back to the few people who've talked to me in the course of my lifetime of saying how something I put out there once changed their life. And I just put something out there as a story. We don't all have stories. We don't all have movies we can make. We can't all have that particular kind of karmic experience, but we can affect people and we can do it one on one. And we can affect ourselves. And we can just go open up, take a breath, relax. It's going to be okay. Because in the ultimate logical environmental sense of if infinite and eternal mystery, I will vote for okay. I will vote for that we're going to be okay. I am 98.2% sure that we're going to be okay. So if you can trust that at all, get back to that space, live life with that sense, and do the little tiny thing in front of you, and you are serving the entire universe. That's all I can say. I make it urgent, and I know there's a lot there, but a lot of people are not working up to their potential. A lot of people are working very occasionally. You know, maybe once a week they'll do something nice for somebody. I'm saying that is not enough. You can do something twice a week or 500 times a week. You can do more. You can do more. You can reach out. You can think about other people. You can drop money in some kind of collection box that will help someone else. Whatever it is, you can do it far more often with far more urgency than you have in the past. And I would encourage that because the world needs that. Every little thing. We have a school board election this week. You know, my daughter-in-law says, you got to vote. I didn't even know about it, but of course I'm going to go vote. Every opportunity that I have to do something, it's tiny, but yes, I will do that. Support people you can support. You don't want to go broke, but support the causes you believe in. Do the kinds of things that might be of help. If we had enough people on the planet doing that, of course, we'd all live in heaven right now. This would be an amazing place. We don't have that. But you are agents of heaven, or you are angelic force, or you have your angels in training, however you want to look at it. You can do the work. And yes, you're going to get overwhelmed, confused, probably frightened. If it gets to be really overwhelming, then I mean, my experience from the aging side of things is it's overwhelming. Does that eliminate my need to work? No, no. I have to work 100 times harder, and I'm old. And I hardly have the energy, but it does. They don't care. It doesn't care. It's just saying, do the work. And the incredible thing about the work is that it is not hard. It's simple. It's reviving, refreshing, beautiful. Gives you something to live for minute to minute. Just do it. Just do it. It's worth it. It's just worth it. Remember, don't get caught up in the other outer stuff that robs you of your energy. Do the simple, quiet thing that gives you energy. And it's infinite energy, infinite. And it's yours. Does that help a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
Bruce,
Yes.
you used another word that's become very important to me, and it connects with urgency. And the word is stillness. When I watch the news, it what I want, what I pray is stillness, stillness, stillness. When I can't sleep in the middle of the night, I picture the stillness of the water in the pond where I walk.
Mm.
And I just want to spread that stillness. There's a sanctity about it, or something. There's just, it calls me out of myself anyway, into something, a big pond of stillness.
Dale, in many ways, you are that for me. And and you refresh that in me all the time. And so I'm happy you shared that with the class. But yes, it's a great word, and it's a great state to arrive at. And at the core of this process of this work we do, it all comes out of something that is absolutely still. And how that much love and kindness arises out of that stillness, I will never, ever understand, but that's what it comes from. It doesn't arrive from energy and drama and dynamic. It arises from, again, it's a hug. It's the mother's hug. It doesn't come out, I'm going to grab you and hug you. It's not like that. The mother's hug comes and lifts you up and does this, and you feel that stillness, and it fills the air and it fills your life, and then you can bring it back out to everybody. So at the core of our practice is a kind of absolute stillness, but it's rich beyond belief. And thank you for using it. Thank you for saying that word. Anybody else? Okay. Until next week, have a wonderful week. Give those of you who have mothers, give them hugs. Those of you who had mothers, send it off. And those of you who are mothers, happy Mother's Day. Bye, guys.